we can be sure that he is not one of the ones in need of charity, that he's one of the ones giving the charity, you know, by being in the book and helping, you know, to sell it and all. But you can't really tell from the contributors' biographies. And, okay, here's mine. It says, T. Casey Brennan is the author of numerous comic book stories published in the 1970s comics, Creepy Eerie, Vampirella, Red Circle Sorcery, House of Mystery, and others. And that's what they've got to say. So, that's out there now, and it's at the library. It's at the Labyrinth Comic Shop. It's at the Ann Arbor Public Library. There's 2 copies there. There's usually one of them is the usual way that I've seen is there's one checked out and one on the rack. So yeah.
So we talked about MK Ultra, and we've talked a little bit about your comic book career.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about any musical projects.
Oh, okay.
You've been working on?
Well, after I got hit by the car in 2003, I went into a, let me see if I've got any of this stuff here. Oh gosh, yeah. I went into it was a band that was cool in the early 90s. You know, they were like early 90s style punks. And they really didn't exist until I got into them. And I had a friend who did now this is my CD, long out of print. But it's at WCBN. You can call it in on WCBN, the T Casey Brennan Frankenhead Uncensored CD. But I did some death. Let Them Rise. That was death metal. You heard that, in fact. I always tell people that was a spin-off of the fact that I wrote horror comics in the 70s. Then there's the other one, the Social Worker song. Well, that's not on YouTube now, and not the real version of it. That's on something called VEOH. You got to do a Google video search. Yeah, and it's thanks. It's like you know, and it was on Crazy Mark. It was on the Crazy Mark TV show, and he prepared a video for it. And we were trying to get it on this new YouTube knockoff called VEOH, and we couldn't pick it up on his phone to it. But anyway. See, the thing is, twice I say we're street punks, we're gutter punks, and then 50 times in the middle we say, hey, social worker, F you, you know? And the idea of what we had to show there, see, the other stuff, like the death metal stuff on my CD and all, that's a spin-off of the horror comics, that reflects that. But we wanted to produce something, or I wanted to produce something that would reflect this other aspect of my life, in that not only am I completely indigent, but I'm indigent and I have an adversarial relationship with the social workers. Now, keep in mind that the adversarial relationship that I have, it's not something that I'm going to go into the shelter, the free meal, or whatever, and get into some kind of confrontation with them, anything along those lines. It's a political kind of hit. You know, it's like when I needed an attorney, you know, when I didn't have an attorney, after I got hit by the car, you know, they were in there working 24/7 to see that any attorney that I had would ditch me, you know. But I mean, the thing is, this was done at an administrative level. It was done at an executive level. And so the thing is that I'll play around with people and say, well, you know, there's good street people and there's bad street people. I'm one of the bad ones. And but you know, and if I'm seeking out friendship at the shelter, I'll always seek out the friendship of the ones that are a little rowdy and not the ones that sit there and you know, are really nice. But at the same time, I'm not a little rowdy. The reason that they came at me was purely and simply because of for the political motivation. And there's nothing I can do about that. I mean, I know when I'm beat. You know, there's no. So the thing is that even though they were willing to work 24/7 to see to it that I wasn't I wasn't allowed an attorney after I was hit by the car, let me go in and ask them for something. You know, food stamps, bus tokens, whatever. That's impossible. You know, I come back like, you know, before they told me not to even bother asking, I would come back, you know, again and again and again and get the runaround and all that. But yeah, they told me directly they had political orders not to do anything for me, and so I like to play around with the other people at the shelter, and let them think that that's, you know, because I'm one of the bad ones, or because I dress like a punk rocker kid, or have dreadlocks, or whatever it all. But that has nothing to do with what it's about. It's not even remotely connected. But you know, I want to play. There's sometimes I can you know, pretend.
Can I ask
Boy,
you something?
sure don't.
Tell me about your pins, because I love your pins. You just wear them because
Oh, it's just like
your
random,
punk
baby. It's
rock?
like, yeah, I totally, yeah. I mean, unless it was something something like, you know, like totally too off the wall. I'll wear any pin. I'll wear any pin that anybody gives me, and I'll wear any pin that I find on the street. And my shirt just sheds them anyway, so that they're not going to be there. In fact, most of them are gone. My God. Anyway, but like, so the thing is, they just keep falling off. But I mean, I don't know what they say. I don't care what they say. If they said something like too messed up, you know, Heil Hitler, or, you know, something crazy like that, then no, I'm not going to wear it. But like, it would, you know, it would have to be something that crazy before I would wear it. And even in a case like, if I had something that said something really crazy, I'd probably sticker it up or something like that. But yeah, I think I did that with one. But I think that was some stupid school pin. I guess that's one that fell off. Oh yeah, here it is. I think this was a pin for some stupid school that I didn't even know where it was, so I put like a monster face, sticker it up. So yeah, any pin is useful. Even if you have crazy pins, give them to me, and I'll put a sticker on top of it. Yeah.
Tell us about the most successful days of your life, like back in the good old days, like in the 70s, like.
Oh, well, you know, in the 70s, well, it's sort of like, okay, I can even, well, no, I was even going to read from Following Cerebus, but in Following Cerebus, that article on me says T Casey Brennan, the Alan Moore of the 70s. And it points out that as soon as I started publishing in Warren magazines, that I became an overnight success, and I used to make a lot of comic book conventions in those days, and you know, they would be in various places in New York and Boston and Toronto and Chicago and so on and so forth. And wait, no, I didn't do any Chicago. I did Boston, Toronto, New York, Detroit, yeah. But I just go, you know, I'd go to various comic book conventions, and in those days there wasn't quite so many in the way of like real celebrity guests. Like, okay, in this century I've made a couple of the Motor City Comic Cons, and I've met the real like television movie celebrities and so on. In those days, I really do have a cold. I'm just getting over it. But in those days, what else?
You want some water?
No, I should probably take one of my. I have some like hardcore mints. I'll just eat it like a hardcore. Yeah, I'm like a hardcore caffeine wintergreen mint. Okay.
Good.
Yeah. But like in the 1970s, if you were a guest at a convention, at a comic book convention, you probably only met other comic book celebrities, you know, who in those days, in the 70s, if you wrote even if you drew comics, even if you published them, you were only a celebrity when you went to the conventions. At no other time and at no other place, you know.
Even if you were Stan Lee?
There's no question about it, you know. Yeah, anybody's like in those days. People look down on comics, you know, and